Yeah. So Onno Willemsen, working for Royal Haskoning DHV, which is an engineering consultant. Um, uh, I'm passionate about driving value with real estate and also about what should change in order to get to the value. And I'm very much aware of the complexity in the whole building vertical, but also in the operational vertical. Yeah, I'm passionate about it. I'm very happy to collaborate with the Smart Building Certification on this because I think there we will make quite some change. So yeah, and I'm leading the program Smart and Healthy Environments, and that's actually changing. We are trying as an engineer to do things different in the marketplace to help facilitate smart buildings delivering value.
Yeah, I love that combination now, especially using smart to make things healthier. And I think we definitely see a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
Nicholas, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Nicholas White, co-founder of Certification, and very much in line with Onno's desire to find the value in real estate. And I think it's about finding the new value in real estate because the market is changing so dramatically at the moment. So we're really working hard to find ways to make smart count and pull out the value of smart technology. And the biggest opportunity, but also the biggest challenge there is integrative design and making sure that we're doing that right. So I'm excited to talk about this. Absolutely.
Okay. Next.
All right. So this is Dr. Bala. Balaji Kaluri is my full name, and I am a researcher, a research consultant with the Danish Institute of Fire and Security Technology, based out of Copenhagen, and also an industrial postdoc jointly with Technical University of Denmark. And I have been a systems, smart systems engineer, and then turned into a building scientist with a PhD from with PhD in building science. And yeah, I've been studying and making technologies that would enable buildings to be smart, healthy, comfortable, and so on and so forth. But yeah, currently I am exploring this new space, which is with smart technologies integrated into the building design for various reasons and goals and objectives. Are there any compromise in terms of safety, security from, let's say, predominantly cyber attacks leading into physical or cascaded into physical systems, and that disrupts the processes inside the building, and therefore their goals associated with it, right? Be it energy efficiency or comfort. So yeah, this is exciting. I'm exploring this, and I feel smart building certification is a perfect fit to take some of these approaches and methods that we are building based on scientific methods into the market and test it and transform the building industry into a responsible design space and design field as such. So that's where I see an opportunity to collaborate with SPC. Yeah.
Nice.
Wonderful. Nice. Sorry, the clouds are going over the. I'm at the beach right now. The clouds are going over the sun a little bit. Thank you, guys. I'm Elizabeth Nelson. I'm also one of the co-founders of Smart Building Certification. My background is in research. My doctorate is in biomedical engineering, but I worked on proactive healthcare and looking at how we integrate technologies to make people healthier in the workplace, especially now. Let's jump right in. The obvious question is, what is integrative design? Because it's one of the hot topics right now that people are talking about. I would like to talk about what is not integrative design, what integrative design is not. Is there anybody who wants to jump on that? I'm going to look at Onno if nothing else.
No, I think it's at least not just technology. So it's not a perfect technology solution, even though it is maybe working together cross-vertical. That is not, I think, that doesn't cover the full integrative design approach and promise.
Are smart buildings, are most of them integratively designed now, in your opinion?
No. I don't think that's even the case, and I have a lot of examples maybe for later on. But even if we are, it's still not the full picture of an integrative design of a smart building or a work environment. It's more to that than just technology, in my view.
Yeah. Okay. So that dives into, we know that most smart buildings are then not integratively designed. So what is a integratively designed smart building?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of the technology, but also the purpose. And if I may, I have a small example. I've used it more before in other roundtables and keynotes. But I came to a conclusion that my smartphone is a platform that has more calculating power as to what NASA had late 60s when they sent Neil to the moon. Even though the alarm clock, which is put on there, is functionally exactly the same device as the alarm clock of 69. And I'm fascinated by that aspect. Why is a platform so smart and why is the application so dumb? And I found a solution because we design it as an alarm clock. And yeah, then you design it from the purpose somebody wants to wake up at a certain time. But that's not your purpose. Your purpose is you need to be in time at your first appointment. So your starting point of integrative design is a complete different goal. It's really what you want to achieve, not the means to an end, which is the alarm clock. So if you design it from that perspective, suddenly disturbances in public transport, disturbances in weather, disturbances in traffic, your health status. Now with COVID, the amount of people expected in trains to make it safe, maybe things in your office, people that come to the office, and maybe you can still make it an online event rather than going to the office. These factors, these insights will determine if you give it as an advice at 11 o'clock when you put your alarm clock. At that moment in time, you can decide what is a smart decision to go to the office or not. And the office, at the same token, will know the people that have changed their mind, and maybe you can optimize your energy. We can optimize public transport. We can optimize a lot of things. So by rephrasing the question, you will come up with a complete different values if you look at along your journey, so integrally, than if you just start digitizing features in your building that you know today. And that means if that is your approach, and that's what for me is integrative design, then you start with what do I want to achieve? What do I need to integrate? Which technology building blocks are needed? TomTom traffic, maybe the weather from somewhere. These building blocks technology are needed. That needs to be integrated because we want to drive value on top of that. Maybe with algorithms, maybe with analysis or whatever have you. And then, so that's why I believe it starts from where you want to go. And along that journey, we define value added cases. And based on that, we start to decide what needs to be integrated and how it should be applied. So it's a combination between technology and the organization and the processes. So I think that is what will drive value, definitely with smart buildings.
Love that. Do either of the other two of you have anything? I mean, that was perfect, so it's hard to follow up. But do either of the other two have something to add to that at all, or should we move on?
I have, the arguments that that Ono has put forward in terms of value that integrative design drives, right? And this is being transformed into how technology is being used to build things smarter, right? And we always look at all the values that are coming out of technology integration and aspects like that, right? But seldom we pay so much attention to what kind of complexity does it pose really, right? And we don't test for corner cases and because it is so complex, and a building design process has the time schedule that allows to test all the corner cases. Therefore, what according to me, scientifically speaking, from building science perspective, in my opinion, it is something that is considered integrative process is considered as a holistic approach to think buildings built environment as a large complex socio-technical system, which typically consists of, let's say, architectural engineering design, which is the envelopes, facades, so that using different materials, which is more organic and things like that nature, so it doesn't harm environment so much. And combined with design for, let's say, operability, meaning how do we integrate active mechanical, electrical, plumbing systems and so on, that keeps the building functional, right? And also design, keeping in mind design for safety and security in the complex world of unknowns, because it is now, we are not talking about building as a small unit which is standalone. The moment you put a lot of technology and distribute the computation across different domains, cyber, physical, social, and many other spheres, you invite for more many such new unprecedented risks. So therefore we need to consider how do we design for new safety, security measures in the building, and how do we embed that thinking into the design process, right, of buildings, and also finally design for improved facilities management. And that's where I see the value of integrating ICT as a backbone coming in. How do we leverage, now that the buildings are becoming complex, you have tons and thousands of sensors that is presenting all this information. How do we make sense of this information, more precisely, holistically, learning from the data, presenting what is essential, what is not essential, and so on and so forth. So I see this integrated design process as a combination of all these different facets.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you started in on this, so I'm going to continue down this road. What do you were talking about cybersecurity, for example, and I know your research goes deeply into that. What are the biggest challenges, do you think, now of integrative design? Nicholas, do you want to start with this one?
The biggest challenges. Well, I think to go back to your first question, what is integrative design? What is it not? I would say it's not easy because I think the challenge is even our definition of integrative design, saying, oh, we have a technology that is integratively designed, or we have a process that is integratively designed. You have that integrative approach is siloed. And all of these aspects, all these departments, all of the stakeholders, the technologies, the solutions, the goals, they're all siloed, and they're all driven by motivations that kind of either hopefully are aligned with each other, but most often are running in a different direction. And I think that's the biggest challenge that we have, is that we have everybody running in their own direction. And our goal now is to bring those stakeholders together in a way that can align motivations, align need out of it, at the same time contributing solution. And I think that's the biggest challenge.
I have a point to add to what Nicholas mentioned about working in silos, right? And the design chain of people involved, architects, designers, consultants, and other stakeholders who are operating the building. It's a long list of chain, right? So the challenge in integrative design, therefore, is everyone wants to be safe, right? In terms of playing the game of building the design and taking, and none therefore take responsibility on the shoulders if something goes wrong, right? And therefore what this and how do they do it is by largely prescriptive methods, or prescriptive ways of designing buildings, right? And you have some codes, standards, regulations, you try to stick to that, right? And for example, in the case I have an example about fire safety, right? You want to design building using materials that are let's say flammable timber, because it is more because it's locally available and doesn't have large embodied energy, as unlike concrete, steel, and so on and so forth. And therefore, how do we build structures that are made of tall structures made of timber and other things, right? So now if you have to do this, you can additionally add, for example, active design strategies for fighting fire in case it catches fire, right? But this is advocated by performance-based design. So you can do this, but you can also do this in order, if the building catches fire, you can fight fire using this kind of strategies. But building owners and other people who are taking these decisions and thinking about these design considerations do not take this I mean, in that right spirit, right? Because they think that they are paying huge premium for insurance, and therefore why do we take such risks, right? And therefore they leave the responsibility on insurance companies, and they think that it is okay to. Therefore they stick to the old school thought of using prescriptive ways of designing systems and buildings as a whole. And so we are not coming out of the school of thought into thinking about performance based. How do we improve designs and improve towards climate change mitigation and so on and so forth. So that's
kind of the illusion of security, the illusion of safety in that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of
and I think in general also is the compartmentalization of the silos, and integrally you want them to collaborate. So your demarcation of responsibilities and your starting point is a crucial one. I think we come to that, but that's something what I hear you say also, Bala, that's where a lot of things go wrong. It's because it sticks in the silo, or it is phased in time. Decisions are taken not all in the same moment.
Yeah.
And then exactly. Elizabeth, over to you. Yeah.
No, I think one of the best analogies for smart, a great smart building is the brain of the building, something that is getting lots of information in and is making some decisions either with human interaction or maybe automatically. And I think in my mind, that's really the ideal, that it's a well-structured building with a high functioning, intelligent brain. So speaking of ideals, I want to talk about what are some examples of great integrative design, whether just something in your mind, what does it come through, or examples in different cities and different buildings. And I'm gonna let you guys run with that. Does anybody have any good examples or any building that they wish that was built in that way?
If I may, we had a customer before the COVID period. We were very close to starting that. Actually, we started with the data model. So we have thought about what we would like to achieve in this particular customer, and there's environment. It was a big one. It's very hit by COVID, so that's why it's on pause now. But it was a big facility, many things happening there, large flexibility. So we were really driving there. What do you want to achieve? Well, how does the journeys of your visitors or your employees look like? And then we have designed the high impact use cases for that facility. That really was in the heart of their business operation, how it adds value. And from there, we have actually designed a data architecture, information model. That was the leading principle of selecting ecosystems. So an information model and technology building blocks, like to recognize your license plate, or to count the amount of people, or to have location-based services indoor. So these kind of building blocks that were needed to integrate and to deliver that value, that were defined. We didn't select there the type of technology, but just the building blocks. And with that design, so the leading part was the data model and the building blocks needed for the use cases. That was the starting point of selecting and discussing with vendors. And then you have on the start, so not just the climate, but all across the board, including business applications. So that if you are able to pull IT and engineering all the way this way to the front and make that the information model much more your decision model than what we traditionally used, I think there you start making changes in the marketplace. I think that's a very good example. And it's something that the Edge have tried as well, because I was part of that process. Maybe not fully succeeding there, but these kind of examples really help deliver better environments.
Yeah. And are those I was going to say, are those the future of buildings? And what do we think the future of buildings are?
I will be very blunt, which I'm Dutch, so this is typically what we do. I believe if we are not going to find this approach for buildings, you will not achieve it. So this is the only way to create value in the future with buildings. Otherwise, we start digitizing alarm clocks and we are not getting to the value.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the differentiator between those that succeed in the future and those that don't succeed. I think if you look at the challenge is that these siloed ways of working and people moving in all these directions, they can never work together, because, you know, why from a facility management am I going to pay the bills so you can have better employees?
Yeah.
Or from an HR perspective, why would I pay for your better climate?
Exactly.
And the opportunity sits on the bottom line of the entire budget. But as long as we don't operate the entire budget that way and we keep the budget siloed, you're never going to get there. So you gotta break that mold, and that's hard. That's really hard.
All right, I'm actually gonna leave you guys with this last little bit to discuss, because I'm gonna head up onto the main stage and talk about smart building certification. This is one of those general questions, but what do we need to do right now? Because I think SMART has a huge opportunity right now and maybe isn't being taken for what it should be. And I'm very curious from your three backgrounds, what you think we should do right now. So I'm gonna leave you with that.
Okay. We will answer that, Elizabeth, and good luck with your keynote. Yeah.
Yeah, good
Thank
luck.
you.
What do we need to do? Now that we don't have a moderator, it's really difficult to know who's supposed to talk. No, I'm just kidding. I can start. You know, I
can play moderator.
I think the biggest opportunity
yeah.
sits in that, what I just said, that total budget. If we can start to operate it differently, where everybody is contributing for what they need. And through that process, because follow the money, and that's where you get decisions and where you get thought. So follow the money, follow that budget, break down that budget so that it works a little bit differently. And that can only be done if it's led from the top. You know, it's got to have leaders that understand this complexity and what they're trying to do. It has to have somebody who's willing to take a risk and jump out of the comfort zone of the way it's always been done to do it differently. And then, you know, fail forward and do it quickly, because we're talking about expensive projects, you know.
Yeah, and at that level is needed, because there's where
Exactly.
budgets come together and are divided.
Ono, just to give you some thoughts about how you envision. You mentioned envisioning, designing an ideal building, right? Using data infrastructure and data building blocks and value that it and the use cases that you wanted to your customer or you wanted to build using the data infrastructure blocks, right? So this was a very similar approach that we took in my previous research project. And we built a really high performing office building, which is about 68 kilowatt hour per square meter per year in tropics, right? And where cooling energy is quite high. So the end result is we wanted to basically build a high performance office using advanced design of architectural systems, integrating different kind of ventilation, cooling systems, and also I mean, we don't want to also compromise on IEQ, right? And also occupancy satisfaction. So we said all these are very, very important to achieve high performance building, right? And how do we do it? So people started thinking about different ways of designing systems, and we need to also verify it, right, with real data. So that is where instrumenting with a lot of sensors came into play, and we need to verify it with real hard data for a sufficiently larger time, right? And therefore we in order to verify this, so what we did was this data infrastructure. So we built upon we took many different pieces of infrastructure, data, building blocks that was available publicly, and then we started building a middleware that could aggregate all this information from over 1,000 sensors, and then it can present you that single piece of information at last. And also, if you want more detail, you can break down the information and then go and visualize it, or drill down the details, right? But what we did not realize then in the process of this building together, because we started with performance, achieving a certain high performance goals, and then we started choosing building blocks to measure and verify it, and when we delivered or verified it in the process, right? But we never really thought about what kind of risks could these kind of building blocks present, and we try to distribute the computation across different facets, right? And but fortunately in this project we never integrated any safety security kind of measures. It was only energy and comfort management systems that was integrated, right? And so we never really saw that any hazards coming in. That was not the scope. So and the duration of the project was small, so we never really had such things coming in. But you never know, right? And many people do this. I have seen many people in the States doing it also. They started building in AI systems that leverages on this data that is collected historically, and then they try to control the buildings. So the moment you started control building based on AI, and AI lives in a cybersphere which can be manipulated by someone, and it is okay if you compromise on comfort, but it is not okay if you compromise on a safety or a security or privacy or any of those things, right? So you never know this cross interactions between the information systems.
I think that's the challenge, is getting the right stakeholders in the room to talk and knowing who you need to have in there at the same time.
Yeah.
Guys, I think our time is up. For anybody in the audience who's interested in learning more, working with us, of course, you can contact Ono or Bala directly, but you can also get in touch with us at smartbuildingcertification.com. The case that Bala was just talking about, we're looking at how to certify that building and then map Bala's research to that certification. It's going to be a very interesting process over the coming 6 to 12 months. And we would love to have all of you involved in participating. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to the next time.
Thank you so much, Nicholas.
So thank you, Bala.
Nice meeting you both.